Hi everyone, this is Dr. Kamika Baylor here to answer a question that I get quite often, and that is what is the best protein shake supplement that I should get? What kind of protein shake should I pick up? What's the best one for me after having bariatric surgery? So I get this question a lot, nearly every day. So what I like to say is, what are we considering best? When we're talking about best, are we talking about simply taste? Are we talking about um, amount of protein? Are we talking about amount of sugar? What are we basing best on? So I just say, well, this is a good protein shake. This would be preferred for a bariatric patient based on these criteria. So first, I like to say, look at the amount of protein that's in the shake. What is the protein content? And then you might want to consider what's the source of the protein. Where is it coming from? You do want to look at sugar and carb count. How much of that is in there? Because too much sugar, you'll experience dumping syndrome. You want to look at how much vitamins and minerals are added into the shake, because that's very important. Want to look at if you're able to digest the shake, and then you also want to see how well it tastes. And we're putting taste a little bit further down on the scale because it does matter, but it's not the most important thing. Okay, and so also I like to consider what other stuff is in there because protein shakes are processed, so they're going to be a bunch of chemicals or but we want to keep those at a minimum. If there's some things on the back you don't know, you can't read the name, it's a lot of those are what we mean when we say processed food. um, if there's too many, I would shoot a note to your doctor or your nutritionist and say, can you take a look at this for me? Would it be okay for me to take if you're trying to cut back on additives to your food? And they might say, oh yeah, that one's fine. It's just the chemical name for this or that. Or they may say, oh, I wouldn't go with that one. It has too many unknown or chemicals that we don't know what they are. Okay, so those are the top things that I would look for before you even go looking for a brand or a flavor or what it tastes like or anything like that. You need to consider those factors. Then next, I will look at, like I said, the source of the protein, get specific on that. Are you looking for a plant-based or animal-based product? So if you want only plant-based, I would go with soy. They are like the most used protein shakes from plant, and also their pea protein. If you have some kind of sensitivity to soy for whatever reason, you can try pea protein. It's also a plant-based protein shake. And then whey protein, which is a derivative of milk. And of course, we have milk-based proteins. And with those, you want to consider that they come from animals. And also, if you have tolerance to lactose, are you able to have milk? Then those be something you want to consider. And after that, I can talk about a little bit about um, the difference between what you get in retail and what you're going to get from a direct supplier or your doctor's office. Usually in the doctor's office, there'll be specific brands and manufacturers that cater solely or specifically to the bariatric community. And the number one that most recommended by doctors and pharmacists and healthcare professionals and the dietitians and the nutritionists is Bariatric Advantage. It's the most well known, it's the most well studied. It has the better quality of ingredients as far as I know, and it has a whole line that can meet all the bariatric patients' supplemental needs. And so that's the number one. That's the number one we find inside of doctors' offices, and that is requested from direct suppliers. They also have another brand that is recommended by doctors, and that's the HealthWise line. Most of those shakes are very high in protein, so that's good. They're just a little less known than the bariatric advantage, but they also are specific to protein, protein and supplement and all various supplements for bariatric patients. And another one would be Amiberry or Amibari. Amibari is probably what's the pronunciation. And that one is a little less amount of protein. It's on the lower side. It also is on the lower side as calories goes, so that's good. You might drink this shake multiple times a day. As opposed to the HealthWise is 35 grams of carbs, so that could be considered a meal replacement. And then Bariatric Advantage, their number one shake product, has 27 grams. It's still considered just a shake for whatever reason, not a meal replacement. And also there's Choco Right, and that's a brand I have not had yet, but it is one that is recommended by a lot of nutritionists and direct suppliers for bariatric based products. And it's sugar free, and it's on the lower side with the carbs, and no hidden carbs. So it should be sugar free and low carb. So it should be no hidden carbs inside of this protein shake. Sometimes when you read the label, it'll say sugar free, but then it'll have this number of carbs, and you need to look and see where the source of these carbs, where they're coming from. But this one advertises sugar free and low carbs. So if you having a problem with carbs, or you have to monitor your carb intake because of a condition, maybe you have diabetes or some other metabolic condition that's causing you to have to monitor your blood glucose, you want to probably go with something like this or similar to this. Okay, so and then we have Nutria, and that is also a company that is for a brand that's high in protein. I'm going to say necessarily specific to bariatric patients, but it is on the higher protein side, and it's not one that's found in stores. Okay, and then there's New Direction. That's a brand that's come out. It's similar to Bariatric Advantage. It has a large amount of am I saying carbs or protein? I should be saying protein. 27 grams of protein in there, and it's on the lower carb side. So that could be considered a meal replacement as well. I don't know why Bariatric Advantage doesn't advertise theirs as a meal replacement, but being that it's so much protein inside, I would consider that a meal replacement. A lot of people talk about the New York cheesecake milkshake. I don't think this one is specific to bariatrics either. It's on the low side as far as protein goes, but it is only 90 calories, so maybe you can get multiple shakes in a day with this one. So let's break this down. What is the best protein shake for me after having bariatric surgery? Well, the best protein shake will contain the right amount of protein, the right amount of sugar, the right amount of vitamins and minerals, easy to tolerate on your stomach, low on the additives or other ingredients, and taste that you can tolerate. That's how I would go into it. So when you go into retail where there's all these other shakes, look at those things. The number one dog, the big dog for shakes on the retail side is Premier protein shakes. Those have so many different kinds. They have a lot of different flavors. Mint chip, chocolate and coffee, peanut butter and chocolate, a bunch of winter flavors and fall flavors, seasonal ones. So this is the one that is sold everywhere in retail, and you can buy in large amount from Costco or Sam's, and it's found at nearly every other retailer as well. Also, the Fairlife. This is newer than the Premier protein shakes, but they also are more seen in stores and retail as well as Costco and Sam's. Well, for sure Sam's. I'm not sure about Costco really, but for sure Sam's. So those are the big ones, and they have a nice size amount of protein in them. So they're more picked up by people that are either dieting on a high protein diet or have had bariatric surgery. There are some other ones with the question about of sugar that they have in them, like the muscle milk or the Atkins shakes. Ensure also has a high protein line. Those are probably just as good. You just have to monitor for the carb count and if there's any hidden carbs, and if they're meeting your protein recommendation for the day, or if not, if you have to take multiple shakes, that's some things you want to consider. But as far as taste goes, if you're just talking about taste, that is subjective. You're going to have to try out some shakes and see which ones best fit your taste, but that is secondary to if it meets all the other nutritional needs and sugar and stomach tolerance. Okay, so you want to look at those things, and then of course taste. I like to say that the taste sometimes is predictable by the amount of carbs in them in the shake. So very low carbs, you're questionable about how they taste. So some patients, they won't take the shakes because they taste so bad. So what I recommend is to my patients is to raise up the sugar count a little bit. Not so much. You don't want to go into dumping syndrome and all the embarrassment that comes with that. But just enough so that you can tolerate it and get the shake in you, get the protein in you. Because what's the use of me recommending a shake that you're never going to take because they taste so horribly? So we kind of trying to balance that out. Watch the carb count. You can bring it up a little bit for tolerance, and then, but you're going to make sure you're monitoring your sugar and intake from other sources, and so that I can make sure that you're getting your protein requirements. So that's what I allow. If that's something you're struggling with, the taste that you can't, you're not comfortable with the way they taste, or you can't tolerate the taste, discuss that with your dietitian or your doctor, and let them know, would this be okay with you? As well as if you see some additive ingredients in the back of the label on the shake, and you're reading the labels. Very important to read the labels, because this is where you're going to find this information about calories, carbs, protein, all of that, and the additive ingredients is going to be on the label. So read those, and if it's a lot, shoot your dietitian or doctor a note and ask, with this, take a picture of the label, take a picture of the front and the back, and send it to them and ask, would this be okay for you to take? Would they recommend it? They may say, yeah, those are just chemical names for this, and we're okay with that. Or they may say, no, I don't. There's too many other things in there that I am not comfortable with recommending to you. So that's what I would do. Discuss those things if you have questions about that, and discuss be honest and tell them that you're not taking the shakes because they don't taste good, and see if they can help a work around with for you, or kind of give you some advice on how to be more diligent with your supplement, your milk. Your shakes and your protein supplements. And lastly, there are other sources of protein that you can get besides shakes, as far as coming from a manufacturer and not like from animals or fresh plants. You can try protein waters. There are some protein waters out. They have different various protein bars. There's a lot out about with protein in it to kind of help. If you're getting tired of shakes, you can speak to your dietitian and doctor about some of the other protein supplements that are not shakes. They have bars, they have candies. There's a lot of different kind of things out now. Water, protein water. I would check and see if those were okay with your doctor for you to take as an alternative to shake from time to time. And then you want to hopefully get some protein from your diet as well as you can tolerate, whether that be meat or plant-based protein that you're going to get in food. You want to start to try to add that into your diet as the time comes. You want to kind of get less of the protein and more protein shakes, I should say, and more of that kind of protein as you graduate into regular diet. And also, after being a bariatric patient for 21 years, my own experience, just know that you're not going to like the same shake always. So I would not go to Sam's or Costco and buy 7 or 8 boxes of a brand, of any brand of shake, because it could be 2 days of taking it, a week of taking it, a month of trying that one, and you can't tolerate it anymore. You don't even want to smell it. So I would start off with just a few and see if you like it. And then if you something you like, you can buy more. But I wouldn't go and buy like boxes and boxes of any brand of protein shake or supplement, because your taste will change. You'll get tired of the same thing. I also recommend, from my experience, to get vanilla shakes and add your flavoring into the shake, so that you don't get tired of the flavors as well, and then you didn't waste a lot of money buying the pre-made shakes. And I'll add a syrup in, or I'll add sugar-free syrup in, or I'll add in some fruit to my shake, and that's the flavoring that I'll have besides the vanilla. And so that keeps me from wasting money and buying too many shakes. I'll get vanilla and add in to that the flavor to that, and that's my recommendation for a protein shake supplement. Look at the source of the protein, look at sugar, look at the vitamins and minerals inside, look at the additive ingredients, and then try it and see if you like it for its taste. So most importantly, it's to not get overwhelmed by this. There are a lot of shakes, and it's not going to be the end of the world if you don't like protein shakes. We'll just have to do a workaround for you, and we'll have to figure it out. But you will require protein supplementation. So just keep that in your mind. You will have to have protein supplements. Okay, so I advise you to take those words that I just recommended and get with your doctor and dietitian, and they can devise a plan that will fit for you if you're having a hard time selecting or staying on your protein regimen. Okay, so thank you. And I hope to see you soon. Good night.